Hey everyone, today we're at Moore Reservoir in New Hampshire to do an update on that culvert pipe over here. I reported that to the state just over a year ago, and they worked through the winter doing some repairs. Not sure if the repairs were scheduled or because I reported it, but we're gonna go see what they did. This state, if they know about a problem, they fix it immediately. They don't try to cover it up like other states. All right, we were here last year kayaking through a culvert under this highway. You can't see the culvert. It's 10 feet underwater now. And it looks probably 10 feet wide. Here we go. We're inside. Actually have enough room in here for the entire span of the kayak. It's cool. Go through this real fast. That was during a drought where the dam was releasing water faster than it was coming in to produce electricity. And then we came here over the winter time when this was completely frozen with over 2 feet of ice. It was so low, the water. There's actually a second one that would now be like 25 feet below the water. Culvert that we were able to kayak through. In the summertime, I thought that was amazing because ordinarily in the summer, that's underwater itself. Now, can you see how steep this ice is? It's like a 45-degree angle. How am I going to get up there? I'll link all that in the description. So today, the parking lot's over here. Thankfully, it's not completely full. We have a little bit of beach here to walk on. Garbage everywhere. Scumbag fishermen. I'm taking that. It's completely full. Now that I walked up in this cove, instead of walking around, I think that snowmobile trail might actually be better now because it's in the woods. There's no high grass anymore. Look at all the debris left here because the reservoir, when it's completely at capacity, it backs up in here and it drops all this stuff. Snowmobile bridge. It's made out of telephone poles. You see, that's why one end of it is creosote covered, which is supposed to be in the ground. Yeah, this is what I saw from the parking lot, and that's going to be a lot of ticks. But this way doesn't look half that bad. But there's going to be a lot of up and down, and it's really oppressive out today, the humidity. About 92 degrees. Really hot for May in this area. Yeah, I'm in a grassy area anyways, but it's below my boots. Like halfway there now. Look at all that pollen on the surface of the water. Look at all the grass pollen that is sticking to my boots. A lot of people with ticks on their property will go and they'll get some pet chickens, or if they don't want to take care of chickens, they can get grouse birds. You literally raise them for a few months inside and give them shelter. Then when you release them in the yard, they'll stay in the general area and sleep in trees. You don't have to do a thing. They'll eat all the bugs, but if you don't feed them in the winter, they might wander off further. Look at this. Looks like a small septic tank. Could be. I just saw some foundations up there. Looks like it's time for a culvert there. Mosquitoes are getting bad as I walk into this more swampy area. All right, we're here. This is a much better snowmobile bridge, also made with telephone poles. Timbers are a lot nicer. Let's go see what they did to that culvert. I'm gonna show some old footage of it before we go inside. When that thing is dumping water out at full capacity, there'll be like a big jet spraying into this pool. The pool's there to slow it down from damaging around it. and you can see the rust marks on the bottom. It ordinarily has about a foot of water in it. We haven't had rain in months and months in this area. Now it's just a tiny trickle, not even an inch deep. Now we're gonna go ahead and walk through that. Go check it out. A bunch of trickling there. Pretty nice pond. Got some lily pads in there. Let's go check out the pipe. A little slimy on the bottom, but not too bad. This thing's huge. Either 10 or 12 feet in diameter. Got some iron oxidizing bacteria leaking out of some holes. Yeah, the culvert is compromised. Those are not bolt holes. You see how it's just like a big crack. When you get iron oxidizing bacteria, as soon as you get a little scrape through the galvanization exposing the steel, that iron oxidizing bacteria just starts literally eating the culvert, ripping holes through it. Now, it's not serious. This culvert is probably over 30 years old. It's already had a good life. But you see, that bacteria is literally eating holes right through it. Yeah, it gets worse as you go. By the damage I see so far, they have at least another 10, 20 years before it gets so bad that it starts eroding under the highway. But I'm sure they'll catch it. This is not Massachusetts. They take care of stuff and they actually inspect these very regularly. You'll never find a clog in this area unless it's right after a storm before they get to it. Because they have guys on a schedule that come out here every 6 months to make sure there's nothing blocking it. And now we're here with the end. Nothing's blocking it. That echo is awesome. I hope my voice is showing up. Whoa, here we go. Out. Got some pretty nice slime. I love talking in that. That was the greatest echo I've ever heard in a culvert. The DOT has set up a bypass culvert, which is like 2 feet wide, while they repair the other one. Water is sparkling clean. The culvert inside of there is bigger than the ones at the reservoir. I don't see any fresh footprints here. I see a lot of concrete though. The concrete must be what they're using between the old culvert and the new culvert so they don't have to dig down the hill again. Yeah, it's a weekday, but there's no newer footprints. You never know. The DOT guys might be working in there now. They have it all sealed off from the elements. Probably have it heated in there. And here's their bypass culvert. Check out that thing. Oh, this is a rock pile. What do we got inside? Yep, the bypass culvert goes all the way through. That means they created a dam on the other side of it. They put this little 2-foot diameter culvert through it to handle the stream because the big culvert's not needed until spring thaw, so they must be almost done with this. While it's being bypassed through the center, they can line the big culvert, but this might get us through to the other side to maybe get a glimpse at their construction site. Let's get through this quickly so we're not in here when a snowmobiler comes. Although I have not seen one all day. A lot going on down there. They got built a road. They got propane tanks in there for heating, possibly torching. They got other buildings here for warming up. They have a little bridge leading downstairs into the tent where the culvert work is happening. I can see the beginning of that black culvert out the other side, and right here in the center of the screen is their makeshift dam to make sure it doesn't go in the pipe they're working on. But what is that water squirting out? That must be a pumping system to catch the water that's leaking through their dam right next to the highway fence. So they have no reason to complain if they spot me. Alright, here I am standing in the riverbed. And that's all for today. Alright, we'll definitely come check this out in the summertime when they're done. Alright. You saw there was some small holes right through the culvert, and eventually that would dig behind the culvert wall and cause a sinkhole. It would go unnoticed if they didn't do their yearly inspections. This area, they generally check every single culvert twice a year. So in the wintertime when we came out here, they had a bypass culvert going through the middle with a pumping system from a dam on the other side. But now they removed all that. That dam was only there to keep it out of their working spot. But they still left all this here. This was holding up their structure, and they had the whole thing enclosed. They had propane tanks and heat running in there whole winter. This pond is here because that thing can be blasting during the spring thaw. I don't know how they controlled the spring thaw through that small pipe. See, there's a lot of groundwater in this area. That's what all that is, and that's why there's these holes here so pressure can't build behind the wall. So originally I thought they were going to build another corrugated culvert on the inside and put grout between them, but it appears they poured concrete on the bottom, which is actually awesome. A lot of the newer culverts are built like this. Now that right there they might not have noticed because the groundwater probably wasn't acting up then. That will eventually cause problems, but it's years down the road. They fixed the main problem. Let's head inside. Look at this, I got a perfect little walkway here out of the water, because that's probably slippery now. Don't have cleats on. And we got a slug. Alright, just grab my light. See what's happening. Wow, look at that. Look at all that condensation here. The wall is so cold from the ground, that's cool. See, it's all dripping everywhere. All the condensation. Yeah, things like this, you have the groundwater pouring out of here. Eventually over time that's gonna cause a problem and eventually make a hole. It's coming out of that bolt hole, but come in here in 10 years, from the bolt all the way down, it's gonna be a big hole. And that'll wash out when the culvert water gets up to that point. What they could have done to prevent this is, you saw at the end, they have the small little tubes going through the wall to relieve pressure. They could have done that through here and cut it off as an angle, then anything stuck behind the wall could simply get through. Oh, my shelf is kind of going away. It's getting more curved. All right, here we got another one here. And that's not going to do anything for years. I don't know, maybe they just did this as a temporary fix until something bigger in the future. I doubt it. They worked all winter on this. All right, see this one here? Look at that. At the right angle, it kind of looks red, like blood coming out of there. This angle, it's getting harder to walk on this. And it's kind of back and forth because all of this was done by hand. That's all handcrafted. They probably pumped it in here with a truck. Oh, you got another one. Yeah, I've seen some of the newer culverts. There would have been a relief here, like a little PVC pipe going through the concrete to the other side of the culvert. And that would be able to relieve pressure because the other side of the culvert would have gravel and it would get completely directed. Now that's orange spray paint. That's not rust mixed with iron oxidizing bacteria, which eventually eats the pipe. But it's amazing. The orange tint was almost the same. And now we're getting, look at it now. The shelf is almost gone. See that? I'm walking on like a 2-inch shelf and I'm actually having to hold on to the wall now. Ooh. Just brushed against a fishing spider. Oh, now I can start to feel all that oppressive humidity. Really nice being deep in the pipe. There's no draft, so it stays nice and cool inside. All right, let's see what we got. Oh, it's getting, shelf is going away again. Alrighty. Yeah, that concrete's thick. So that's where their dam was when we were here during the winter time. I didn't move on to the construction site because I thought they might not have liked that. I was up there on the hill behind the highway's fence, just zooming on down here. And they had a temporary wooden stairs built up here going to their heating, I guess it was a heating area. They had some building here or an office trailer, bunch of propane tanks. They were probably keeping the tunnel heated during the winter to help the concrete cure and keep the workers warm. Although just from being that deep in the ground, it would probably stay a constant 45 or 50 degrees. Yeah, they're completely done now. They're probably just gonna leave this access road here. This is basically set up for rainwater. Can't wash too much sediment into the waterway. Yeah, definitely looks good. And considering what I'm seeing, that I don't see any water lines up along the concrete, which means during a big storm, this doesn't swell that much. Because right here, if I look at Google Maps, this hill where this is coming from isn't that big. And if you look at the riverbed, when that riverbed would completely fill, I don't think it would leave this concrete. So even when those holes do start completely rusting through, it'll be probably pure groundwater. I don't think this would get high enough to erode that. Now, how slippery is that in the center? Can I even attempt that? Oh, it's not slippery. At least not at this point. Maybe in the summer when the slime really gets going. I can definitely feel the slime, but it's not enough to make me fall down. So now I can walk right through the middle. Finally, that feels so nice. So nice and cool in here. It smells like diesel residue in here. The center of this culvert, maybe from their machines or something they were doing, it's got the musty smell of the inside of a fuel tank. Like a fuel tank that hasn't been filled in years. Or sometimes people's basements would smell like this if they had a previous heating oil spill. Reminds me of the apartment building I used to live in when I was little. There must have been a heating oil spill down there. At the time, I didn't know what that stench was, but even after it's cleaned up, it's hard to get rid of that smell. It lingers. Some people actually like that smell, the smell of industry, or like a train yard smell. Look at the groundwater here. Got a really good trickle, look at that. Squirting out of that hole. That'll be one of the worst ones in a couple years. And this one here, see it trickling down that wall? Sprung a leak. Those leaks need some kind of relief from behind that wall. Maybe that was the purpose of down here. Maybe they're hoping all of it will go down there. But just the situation that these have started leaking, it's not gonna stop. But like I said, it doesn't look like the water gets that high in a typical storm. So that's decades down the road that it would cause any substantial damage. Time to get up. They left a bunch of screws laying around on the ledge. All right. thinking about it, this isn't actually code, but it might help with those leaks in that pipe. Maybe they should probably drill a hole, maybe remove that one bolt and put maybe a pipe nipple into place, just so it's not running over the culvert itself, rotting it, so that it would rot the inside of the thick black iron pipe. That might work. I used to do pipe threading, but that I know wouldn't be code in a culvert, but I think it might work. I just picked up all that trash. Look at it, there's a beetle in there eating, I don't know what was in that, but you see all the chew marks? Something like a raccoon was out here gnawing on it, trying to eat whatever was in it. It's not even a lot of trash. I picked it up in like a minute. That's a real great parent setting an example for their little children that were eating this, just to leave it all over the beach so they grow up dumping TVs and crap in the parking lot, because it always will escalate. Or there's even a little fire ring here. Could have just lit it up. I do that camping all the time if I don't have space for the stuff. Looks like I just found a free water bottle. Yeah, it's even sealed. Hope this video was interesting. Thanks for watching.